I have never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses, period. I've never spoken to my son about drug business. I don't know what he was doing. I know he was on the board. I found out he was on the board after he was on the board, and that was it.
Yeah, right? He's already laughing. Just a few examples of the many, many times Joe Biden denied any kind of knowledge of his son's shady dealings. Hunter Biden's laptop, though, gave this country a window into how the Biden family has been operating in Washington for years. Hunter collecting a lot of big money with the promise of access to his dad, and obviously some of that money ends up going to his father as well. It's blatant corruption. It's as simple as it gets. And still this week, New York Magazine runs a lengthy piece sympathizing with Hunter as a victim. Part of it said, imagine in a country with toxic and broken politics, how explosive this collection of data might appear to your enemies in the days leading up to a presidential election. And joining me now is Rudy Giuliani, knows more about that laptop than anybody else. So New York Magazine trying to convince people that it's just a political weapon, that it's really not even, they still want you to kind of think that it's not real, that it was really just a weapon used to try to bring Biden down.
In it, there's an ultimate statement that sort of explains the whole thing in 2019. For 30 years, I've been paying all the expenses of the family, and still Pop makes me give half my income to him. That's to his daughter, explaining the arrangement. I mean, it's explained many times.
30 years.
But that's a contract. That would be, if you're a prosecutor and not a stooge like the people that work for Biden, that's the beginning of a RICO case. That's a contract to commit crimes over a long period of time, to create a crime business, which is why the RICO statute was invented. They are exactly what the RICO statute is for. It's the Biden crime family. For 30 years, they've been collecting money for the use of his influence. It began with his brother James. I think he has another brother, Frank. They were small-time lobbyists. They were getting $5,000, $10,000. Joe was getting half. Then it went bigger than that. Then they got the big job for Hunter at the bank, and he became Mr. Bank. He was a joke. He was the only Democrat lobbying for banks. Joe was the only one voting for the bank. He's the only one who voted against the bankruptcy bill, which was intended to help poor people.
Right.
Because his son had a no-show job.
Yeah.
So this has been building for a long time, and then they took it into world-class corruption, like the Clintons.
It's blatant. I mean, it was you're saying it was controlling his vote. He was voting based on appeasing the people that were paying that money.
How do you escape the following? Yeah. Just one fact. He gives up the Bagram Air Base 400 miles from China, just modernized, probably one of the most important strategic assets we have against China. We're 400 miles from them. They are thousands of miles from us. What an advantage in a war with missiles.
Yeah.
And he gives it up to China's benefit. And he's gotten at least $31 million from China. Has he been compromised? He won't ask whether China is responsible for COVID-19 in any way at all. Does he ever criticize China? Last thing I heard him say about China is they're not really our enemies.
Right. All he talks about is Russia.
Who would say they're not really our enemies?
Yeah.
Unless you were paid money by them, or aren't we allowed to at least question these strange positions that are taken, favorable to China, and then all this money that he got from China? I mean, normally that would bring on a massive investigation and probably an indictment.
It's crazy. Hunter's under investigation by the Delaware Attorney General. We're getting close to a midterm now. Anything happens before the election?
I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, the crimes are there. There's a piece of paper that he signed in which he said, "I'm not a drug addict," and he got a gun. I don't know. That's a one-day trial. Right. This is his signature. This is the gun. Here's the picture of him with the gun. Would you convict him? Yeah. Jury, yes, we'll convict him. Yeah. How about there's a picture of him possessing the gun? There's a picture of him smoking dope within 2 days of that. Yeah. There's a 10-year felony for a drug addict carrying a gun. These are convictions that I would give to first-year assistant U.S. attorneys. They're done with pictures.
It's interesting. Mayor, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. September is historically the worst performing month for the stock market, so you better be ready for it. The Fed continues to aggressively raise rates, and JP Morgan is forecasting another mega rate hike September the 21st. Is that why Jamie Dimon said an economic hurricane is coming our way? Well, gold and silver have remained remarkably stable despite the Fed aggressively raising rates today. The Patriot Gold Group has a special incentive for Newsmax viewers. Huge! Now precious metals investors can enjoy the no-fee-for-life gold and silver IRA on qualifying rollovers, or enjoy free, discreet, insured shipping on all direct gold and silver purchases. Here's the number, 800-356-4470. Call 800-356-4470 today.